Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and we're streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. This is Amanda McKeen. You are listening to North of Normal. This is a show that is on every Tuesday from 10 to noon. And the mission is to create an unfiltered, human-centered space where local leaders, business owners, and change makers share their stories, perspectives, and passions, not to promote, but to connect. North of Normal celebrates what makes our North Country community rich, real, and worth rooting into. And I'm so excited for today's episode. Today I have Greg Williams with me. Greg and I have already been hanging out for the last half hour. He actually gave me a ride to the studio today. Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Great things happen at the Crumb Bar.
They do. I was introduced to a new person today through you, so thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure. That's what I love to do.
I know. I'm so excited to talk to you today, and I think we have quite a few listeners who already know you and are so excited to see you be celebrated. The social post that went out yesterday probably got the most engagement that I've seen of all of my episodes. It's very obvious that you are loved by your community. I wanted to real quick pull up a couple of the comments that were made, at least on the post that I shared.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit hard to avoid my big head.
It wasn't.
Every time I pulled up and somebody made a comment that was at the top of my feed, and it's like, oh my God, there's my huge head again. I have a 5 head instead of a 4 head.
It was, oh nice, that's a good one. It was definitely eye-catching.
Yeah.
So a couple of amazing comments from people in our community. Lynn says, such a great human, can't wait. Kayleen says, one of my favorite people. Marianne says, he's the best. Angela says, one of our family's favorite people. Our son really looks up to Greg. He is a true treasure and greatly appreciated by our family. Ian says, someone the entire community can aspire to. Greg has touched so many lives in the North Country. And you know, the comments go on, and especially on your post.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we wrap it right there? And
no.
Just end this? Let's just stop. I want to go out on that high note.
No,
I don't want to mess it up.
No, it's going to stay high, I
know,
promise.
I'm kidding.
But really just for those of you listening and for those of you who commented already, just thank you so much for taking the time to celebrate such a wonderful person in our community. And thank you for tuning in today. We are going to start out, I want to start out like I usually do by sharing how I met my guests. And Greg and okay, so one thing you guys should know is that when I have somebody on my show, afterwards I send them a thank you email. So Greg, you're going to get a thank you email. But in that email, I ask my guests to please recommend to me somebody that they think would be a good fit on my show. And I had back in September, Janie Arquette from Pantry Posies on, and Janie immediately made an introduction to Greg. So she emailed us both. She was like, Greg's an amazing human. I think you guys need to meet up. And so then we had coffee together. Do you remember that?
I do. And it's ironic that you say that because, I mean, I met Janie a few months before that. And then just recently, she came to a coalition meeting, and we're working on drug prevention in the North Country. That's my main job. And Janie spoke about her posy pantry.
Pantry Posies.
Pantry Posies.
Yeah.
I have trouble with that for some reason.
That's okay.
But she is such an amazing person and champion and such a heart. And, you know, a lot of people wouldn't know how that relates to what we're doing. But it's community.
Yes.
And she is a vital part of this community, no matter what she's doing. It's just, you know, it's part of that intangible thing that just being around, just being that positive support person, just having that vibe makes the community better.
Yeah.
Individuals that want to do good and want to do good things and help the community create the vibe that brings this community up. And she was there doing that, and we had a great interaction afterwards, and I already had so much respect for her, and it just grew even more.
Yeah.
And, I appreciate that she got me connected with you, because I love doing this, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I love talking.
No, I think it was a good fit. When we had coffee together, I usually try to have coffee with my guests before I invite them, because I want to make sure that we can actually have a meaningful chat.
Yep.
And when we sat down together, I was struck by your candidness and genuineness, and you actually, I think at one point when you were talking about your work and how you've been involved in the drug prevention and drug recovery, addiction recovery work, that you got emotional, you cried. And that was just so profound for me, to have a first time meeting with somebody who was that vulnerable. And what it did was, and this is no surprise, vulnerability enables further vulnerability. And I ended up crying from my own stories that I was sharing with you, but it was just such a beautiful conversation. And that is, Greg, what I look for. Like, every single day, I want to find those people that I can be vulnerable with and have, like, real conversations with.
Yeah. That is important, very important, especially in the world we live in today. It's, hard to decipher what's real and what's not real. But, I'm a work in progress. I'll always be till the day I die. I'm always trying to improve myself. I'm always learning about myself and trying to evolve. And a lot of people will vouch for this. I'm nowhere near perfect. You can ask my wife right off the bat. She sees me every day. There's a lot of imperfections, and I still make mistakes, and I think I make less mistakes maybe when I was younger, but I still make plenty of mistakes, and I'm still just trying to do the best I can. I heard somebody say, I heard this somewhere, but they said it's not. Sometimes we look to be loved and understood. Yeah. But that's not really what we need. We need to love and try to understand others. Yeah. And then that will, in turn, get us. Then we'll be loved and understood. But first, we have to love others. Yes. And try to find some understanding about ourselves. Yeah. We have to try to understand. I'm always trying to understand, why I do the things I do. Yeah. What drives me? What drives other people? It's just, I don't know how many people do that. I don't have a reference, but I am constantly just trying to figure out life myself. I love that you said that. I feel like you and I are kindred spirits in that way, because I'm like a sponge. I was telling you before we went on air, and I'll reveal this to all my listeners, that this podcast, even though it does benefit our community and it's a wonderful thing, it's really for me. Because I want to understand what drives people and where they're finding success and what they're learning, because I can learn from them, right? So every time I have a guest on, I learn something new, and I figure out how to apply that to my life going forward. Yeah. So I know that where that came from in me, but I'm curious, like, when did that start for you in your life, and what do you think was the catalyst for that approach? Wow. Big question. The big question, but just a little background. Coming here, I thought about, I was reflecting on the big things in my life. Yeah. And if I cry, I'm sorry. Don't tell everybody. I won't judge. Don't. I know you won't. Yeah. Some of the listeners out there might, but that's okay. When did that change? Or when did I start that? I think I've always been about people. I always for whatever reason, I've just been fascinated with people. I always considered everybody my friend when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I caught a lot of flack for that. Like, I'd meet somebody oh, he's my friend. He's not your friend, Greg. He's an acquaintance. I have trouble making that. But you were my friend until you did something wrong to me. And then you just maybe weren't my friend, and I made more friends. So I was uneasy about that, I think, for a while. Like, it never really made sense to a lot of people, so I got called out on it a lot, and I went out of my way. I just had this hopefulness and this openness with people that was weird. It was weird to people. It was like, and even to this day, I think about when I'm on the golf course. Like, if a cart drives by us, I have this one friend, I'm not going to mention names, but he's a bit of a grump. He's grumpy. Like, he's always... He's always like just bitter, grumpy. He's a great guy, but he's not really a people person.
Okay.
We drive by and I'm waving to everybody on the cars. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you I go, just saying hi. Just like I want to be friends with everybody." And my kids, they give me flack when I go somewhere and I start small talk with somebody. Dad, you don't need to talk to them. Dad, they're just getting you your coffee. Leave them alone. Leave them alone, Dad.
Yeah.
So it's just who I am, and I guess I started to embrace it when I became more confident. And, well, I put myself at my jobs. I have a need for acceptance.
Okay.
I have like middle child syndrome.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah,
I'm a middle child too.
And I need to be accepted by everybody. I need, that's the big thing with me, is that's why I do the things I do. That's why I'm here today. That's why I love putting that post out. I need to be accepted. I don't really like social media that much, but I do have a need to be accepted.
Okay.
That I recognize in myself. I've done acting. Been in a few movies. Some
really?
Commercials, television. Was out in Hollywood for a while.
Oh my gosh.
I still do commentary for MMA, for Combat Zone. And I like to, part of that is because I think I want to be accepted. And I want to, be relevant.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
I can accept, I accept that. I accepted it. But the jobs I've always had were putting me in front of people. So when I went to college, I got a studio art major. I'm also an artist.
Yeah. Which
is a whole nother world of acceptance and self-introspection and vulnerability.
Yeah.
That also drives and helps this too. Like putting art out.
Yeah.
Is, it's exposing yourself to the world.
It's risky.
Yeah. And I've gotten better at that. But to go back in my life, I've had these jobs where I get out of college and then I was like a bartender and I worked in a very busy sub shop. I was like the front of the house.
Okay.
I'm always doing front of the house stuff. Opened up a martial arts school, front of the house. Worked at Brenton Woods at the ski area. Mm-hmm. I worked for the Mount Washington Hotel. I was front of the house. When you pull up to Mount Washington,
nice.
You get me. So I've always put myself in places where there's high traffic, high people, because I love that. I love being around people. So I think I got away from the question, but
you talked about at some point getting confidence.
Yeah. Okay. So through all of that, I think when my wife, she's the missing piece to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because she gave me the confidence to believe in myself. Because a lot of it was just kind of out there. And I always felt like I had, I think I just needed somebody to believe unconditionally in me. And I found that.
When did that happen? And how?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
We talked about this this morning. She said, you can tell them our story.
Oh,
and it's an amazing story.
Will you share it? I would love that.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So I was working at the Olive Garden, store 1286 in Palmdale, California.
Okay.
I owned a martial arts school. I used to go down the I used to go down to L.A. a little bit frequently to work in movies and part of a stunt team for a little while. So I'd be traveling down there. But my main job was working at an Olive Garden as, guess what, a waiter in front of people, doing my little performance act.
Yeah.
And I had a friend. I was probably 33 or 34, maybe even 35. And my friends were all younger because I have like
a young spirit.
A young energy, young spirit. So I had this 19-year-old friend who we just got along great. We used to hang out all the time. And, you know, we just, it was kind of a party, you know. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. And we went through a lot of trials and tribulations there, and we were really kind of close. And my friend, I'll never forget this. He came in, and this is probably 1998 or 99, and he told me that his mom was coming out to dinner. His mom was coming to dinner at the Olive Garden. So I went over to say hello. And when I went there, she was sitting next to her sister. So it's my friend's aunt.
Okay.
And I came back in the alley and I said, "Who's that lady with your mom?" You know, I guess I can't really go after his mom.
I know. I was just thinking it was going to be his mom.
No, I know. No. It's so funny. But he gets this glazed over look in his eyes. And it was almost, I'll never forget it, but he was kind of like, "Oh, that's my Aunt Julie. I think, you know, you would really get along with her," or something like this. And it was almost like it was out of body. Yeah. That's how it felt. So I said, "Oh, that's cool," you know. So I kept it in my mind. And, of course, his mom was like, "Why didn't he ask about me?" Like, that wouldn't be cool. But, yeah, so I inquired, and he told me that. And it was just really weird the way he said it. So then he told me the story of, like, what happened. Like, her husband passed away a year ago. Okay. She had a 1-year-old child. He passed away tragically. Yeah. And, you know, she was back visiting, and she had been out to New Hampshire, Littleton, New Hampshire, and came back to Palmdale, and, you know, was looking to, like, resettle back in Santa Clarita. Okay. So she actually, when I met her, she had just come back from Littleton.
That's amazing.
Because her mother, who raised them in the valley, bought a house in Littleton and had been living here. Okay. So she came out to get away from everything and brought her child back. And I was like, okay. So then I took her out on a date. We went down, we hung out, and we really just hit it off great. And, you know, that's where it started. And she told me later on, she said, "I went to a palm reader before I met you. And they said, something's in the works for you with a family member where you're going to find love again." And she said, "I'm not looking for, I don't want, you know, it's just way too soon." And, you know, like, it's not, and I certainly wasn't looking for, I mean, I was having a party. I was having fun, and I wasn't looking for a serious relationship. But when it happened, it just seemed very right. Yeah. And, you know, when you know, and it's been 26 years. Wow. It's been 26 years, but that palm reader said something. And then I realized, and this is the joke we have, like, her husband passed away, and he liked to drink. You know, he was a beer drinker. Okay. My father was a beer drinker. My father died right around the same time. Really? And we have this thought that, you know, they were up in heaven somewhere going, "My son's kind of a screw-up. He needs somebody. He needs somebody to keep him on track." And he's like, "Well, I got my ex, you know, not my ex, my wife. Yeah. You know, she's down there, and she needs somebody." Yeah. So over a couple of beers in heaven, we feel like they kind of conspired to make it happen through my future nephew. It was really kind of weird, and I don't know. I never really questioned it since then. Yeah. You know, like, that's amazing. So how soon after you met her did you meet Littleton, New Hampshire? So we moved. We were both like 35. Okay. I like to say she's an older woman. She's got 6 months on me. I get smacked every time I say it. But so we're really close in age, and what were we going to do? Wait 10 years to see? So we got married kind of quick.
Okay.
We had another child, my daughter that works at the Crumb Bum.
Yeah.
So I have two daughters,
Okay.
30 and 25. So I know she's 25 because she's born 2000.
Nice.
So she'll be 26 January 11th. I made sure I get that right. But so I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm like,
we're talking about when you met Littleton, New Hampshire.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
So we moved kind of quick. We got married, had a kid, settled into Santa Clarita, and in Santa Clarita we had just bought a nice house, beautiful house, and we're living there. And a few things happened. Number one, there's a very violent shootout not far from our house. Yeah. A gentleman was impersonating a federal marshal. I dropped my daughter off at school, at kindergarten.
Yeah.
And went to go get a coffee at Starbucks. Saw a whole bunch of armored vehicles going up into the neighborhood, the affluent community. And essentially what happened was this gentleman, he holed up in a house and killed the deputy sheriff.
Wow.
And eventually they burned his house down with him in it. Very tragic. But he threatened to use rockets to shoot down the helicopters if they didn't leave. And that was right around my daughter's elementary school. So I went up to the elementary school. They said, we're in lockdown. And I said, I want my daughter. And they said, no. And there must have been some way I looked or something I did. But they said, okay, you get your daughter. Because I don't want her to be sitting there when I could get her out of there. So I grabbed her and we went home. And, that was right next door to a childhood acquaintance of my wife who was living there with her daughter who was in school. It was a pretty nasty episode.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a lot of family out there. And I have a lot of family in New York.
Okay.
So we decided to come back and visit. And we always had the idea of maybe moving, maybe getting out of this community. It was kind of a very materialistic society.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, everybody was wondering, what do you do for a living? Everybody was up in your stuff, pretty much. So, it really didn't feel good for us too much, even though the lifestyle was nice. But our kids were going to, birthday parties every weekend, and the mall lifestyle for them when they get to be teenagers was do we really want that? What do we want for our kids? So we visited her mother who lives in town, and on a whim, we looked at some property. And when we looked at some property, this lady, Peabody and Smith, they took us out to a property which on the way was honey, I think they're going to kill us. We're in the middle of nowhere. Coming from, I lived in New York, and then I lived in L.A., and then we're out in this, and she goes over this railroad track, and there's this beautiful tract of land, 75 acres on a river, and golf courses, it's set up like a golf course, meticulously groomed. And I said, is this on a golf course? She said, this is the golf course. This is the property. So 75 acres, a beautiful view of Mount Washington, on a river, secluded, no neighbors, everything. And it was the same price as the house we were living in.
That's nuts.
So we decided to make the move, and everybody thought we were nuts.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, you're going to give up fast food around the corner? And, we live by Magic Mountain, Six Flags. So, on the 5 freeway, you had every fast food place imaginable. And, you could have anything at your fingertips. It's
funny that that's what people were concerned about for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, look at me. I'm a big dude, so it's but we decided, and honestly, in coming up on 26 years, never regretted a day.
Nice.
I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, and I don't really want to move. I might, become a snowbird, but my roots are here now, and this is where I want to be and living on that land. It's so peaceful and beautiful. Every day I cherish it.
That's amazing. A lot of parts of that story resonate with me. I shared last week my own story, and a lot of it was rooted in fear before I came here. And then when I came here, I was like, oh, I'm never going. I'm never leaving because it's so peaceful, you know?
Yeah.
There's just something about it.
I know. I think it really does suit me and allows me to thrive, too.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that background stuff eating away at you.
It's so restricting when you have this hypervigilance. You don't want it to, but it closes you off to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
I think
get that.
Yeah, that plus also the cost of living and the cost of and the speed, right? Like the speed in New York. When I grew up on Long Island, and I love Long Island, but I knew early that my mindset wasn't made for that.
Yeah.
Like, if I was more money, I had to be more money driven in order to live a decent, any kind of a lifestyle. Yeah. And I lived in some pretty bad poverty by my own doing. I came from a great family, and I have a great family, but I just wasn't really drawn towards money. I was drawn towards art and people and hanging out and kind of a hippie, you know.
Yeah.
But that's not really a good place to be a hippie when everything costs money and.
Yeah, I hear you.
I needed a quieter lifestyle, and I found it here, and this is where I appreciate it, and that's where I can thrive.
That's amazing. Thank goodness that you met your wife. What's her name?
Julianne.
Julianne.
Yeah, she's incredible.
I would like to meet this lady sometime.
When unconditional love, like, to find that, I was happy and okay with not having that the rest of my life when I was 35.
Yeah.
But when it happened, then that's the basis of this question you asked earlier, like, what changed?
Yeah.
And I think that's what changed.
That's amazing that it was another person that brought that to you.
Yeah. Yeah. It brings me the confidence, that I don't have, or that piece of confidence that I don't have.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty confident.
I would imagine so. If you were always in front of a lot of people, you have to have a level of confidence.
Yep, but, it's that constant struggle with what do people think of me and what do I think of other people?
Yeah.
Like running that in your head all the time.
Yeah.
We all go through that, perception. What are people saying about me? What are people, your job is about that, right?
It is. It's about reputation.
Reputation.
Yeah.
So, we all struggle with that. And I think the confidence to not worry so much about it, or to put it in its proper context.
Yeah.
To give it the right space, but not overdo it, is a process I'm still learning. I think we go to the grave learning that.
Yeah.
Because we're all interacting with people. So we're always trying to figure out those things.
So when I was thinking about what I know about you at this point, which is very limited, by the way, I was thinking about how you clearly have this reputation, but I know that that type of reputation that's like deeply rooted, and you hear the same message from so many people that don't even know each other. It's real at that point. That's the benefit of the work that I do is online reputation management. You're getting, reputation is what other people say about you. It's not what you say about yourself. And so you have cultivated this reputation over decades. And my question to you now is, like, did you have a vision for that? Or how did you arrive at this point where you're so invested, involved, committed? Did you plan this, or did it just unfold naturally?
No, I didn't plan it. But I think early in my life, through athletics, I was coached by some good coaches and some bad coaches. But I think what my takeaway was that when you as an individual, whether it be an adult, a child, anything, when you believe in other people and look for the greatness in them, then it does something. It changes a chemistry. It changes something in them. So I've always tried to look for the good in people from a long, like when I said, everybody's my friend. I would look at people and go, you're great. They might not be, but I would like try to bring out the best in them.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by people. So when you give, that positivity to people and believe in them, I think early on I saw people spark.
Yes.
And oh wow, so, just like my wife did with me.
Yes.
You build a confidence in them they didn't have before, and you give them something that they can build on and become better. That's been the probably common denominator in my work, is just believing in people. And I think we need, as a society, to believe in each other much, much more than we do right now. We need to believe in our youth. I know it's easy, and it's an age-old thing where people, these kids, this generation doesn't get it. They're all on that toxic, whatever, But truth be told, there's great youth out there that are going to change the world, and we have to believe in that, But it doesn't cost a lot to invest your belief in people, and the dividends are huge. So that's been a common theme for me as a coach. I've been a coach. I've been a teacher. I just try to get myself out of the way and believe in them and let them become great.
Yes, and I can see how that quality you have would be so amazing in the addiction world, because they need people to believe in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it comes from a lot of addiction problems come from living in darkness, right? Mm-hmm. So the darkness being not a lot of community, not a lot of self-worth, self-value, not believing in themselves, feeling down, but and we all do have great self-value. We all have so many wonderful gifts. When you see other people, and I have some great friends that were Narcaned and brought back to life and died and came back, and you see the gifts that they have that can make, that can change the world.
Yeah.
That they have changed the world, that the things that they do affect such a larger community. Man, I mean, how do you not believe that somebody is capable,
But you see it. Not everybody sees that.
Yeah.
So you've been given a gift of sight.
Maybe, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my gift is, I think about that too. My gift is one of vision, and I get older, so I have some experience now, and I rely on a lot of experience and a lot of interactions with people to shape, my perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all the experiences,
I want to ask you something now. When you choose to believe in people, it can't depend on the outcome, right?
No.
So how do you find, you're hoping, right? You're hoping for that person. You want the best for them. And when they fail, or when they don't live up to that hope, how is it that you find the forgiveness or fortitude to keep believing in them when the track record isn't there?
I think that's a good question, but I think there's an easy answer.
Oh, great. I love easy answers.
Yeah, the answer's easy. I know people are going to let me down. I know I'm going to let people down. That's a fact of life. Like, I try not to, but I do fail, and I do let people down. I try to minimize it as much as possible, but I'm a human being.
Yeah.
When people fail me, and it took me a long time to figure this out, but it just might not be the time. I never give up hope. I never give up hope. You can relapse, even, from a addiction perspective.
Yeah.
I take you to rehab. You do well for 28 days, you come out, you relapse, and now you failed again, or you used again. That's all right. We'll try it again. We'll do it again. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, people pass.
Yeah.
And I can't, I can't look at that as my failure. I think all of us need to do whatever we can to help people in active addiction get help.
Yeah.
And that's a daily, ongoing thing. And we've been really good about it up here in the North Country. We have a lot of good champions, but we can't take our foot off the gas. We need more and more resources. We need more mental health. We need more, just across the board, more resources here in the North Country. But we can't live and die by the moments. That's probably not a good expression, but we can't hold ourselves accountable for other people's failures when we're trying.
Right.
I think the problem would be not trying. So as long as we're trying, as long as we're honest and with the effort, then you
have this like resilience, this like bounce back every time. Where did that come from? Fighting?
Yeah. I think fighting, but I think, fighting's just a microcosm for like everyday life.
Yes.
We're all fighting for something.
Yeah.
We fight for love, respect, a parking spot, for all things we're fighting for. And I think, we need a resilience. It's easy to give up sometimes, but one of my faults is that I don't know when to quit. That's a problem. Like I try to be too much for too many, and just overextend myself, and that can be a problem. But I try never to give up on people. Yeah. And I think it comes from fighting. It comes from just my experience, from what I've learned over the years. Like I've seen so many. It's weird, and I don't like to pontificate. I don't look at myself as like a mentor to people, but I have some people that look to me as like a mentor or
a sensei,
or even just like somebody to help them navigate things. And it's a little uncomfortable, but it's not so bad, because I realize what they're really tapping into is my experiences. Mm-hmm. When people start to get petty about things, and sometimes it's like social media stuff or whatever, I go, hey, they have to make the perspective of like, that's their perspective. You don't have to ingest it and make it yours. Mm-hmm. Like I just try to give the sum of my experience, because I've lived so far. I've had a very interesting life, moving in different areas and living in different country, like a different country for a little while, and LA, New York. So I've had this like multitude of experiences, and there's value in that. Totally.
You have this spark that everybody clearly sees, and this resilience and this like light. I'm curious when in your life you feel like you've lost that for a moment.
Oh boy. Wow. I said nothing was off limits, I guess, huh?
Yep.
When I make mistakes, I'm hard on myself. And I really do not like to make people feel bad. That's a real as much as I have hope and love people,
Yeah.
when I hurt someone unknowingly or through a mistake that I've done, that's when I beat myself up the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had some moments.
I have. I've had one recently, and it's hard. But again, I have to understand I'm human. I mean, and I'm still on a journey. You know, I'm still trying to understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard when you hurt somebody, you know, unknowingly, and it's just, you know, it's not like it isn't physical hurt. It's more like just words that get mistaken.
Yeah.
You know, them taking it out of context. But you know what? I own up to it.
Yeah.
Right away. I said my mistake. And I'm careful not to try to cover it up, but to own it. That helps me a lot.
That's a good core value to have, is owning your mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't do you any good not to.
Yeah.
You know, as you get older, you realize, you know, owning your mistakes is actually, in the long run, it's a gift. You know, over time, that becomes more and more important.
It's a gift to yourself, but I think it's also a gift to the people around you.
Yeah.
There's nothing so refreshing than somebody who admits when they're wrong. It's disarming immediately.
Yeah.
You get understanding, you get empathy. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think that we don't see it as a strength, but it totally is.
Yeah. And time hopefully heals.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good question. I knew we'd get there somehow.
Oh.
Way to weave it in.
Let's see. We've got lots of time left.
Yeah.
So, you had talked a little bit about, before we went on air, about like how you were reflecting on all the jobs that you've had.
Yeah.
And kind of how that has led you in your life.
Yeah, I've done so many things, so many different jobs. When I first my first job was doing construction with a crew, and then doing my own roofing by myself, like just me, one man band out of my car, showing up and roofing a house, and yeah, it made me strong, but yeah. But it was taxing. It was really bad on your body.
Sounds like you were kind of a lone wolf.
I was. My father worked for the same company for 35 years. Got up every day, went to work, was a great man, and I never wanted that. You know, everybody processes things differently.
Yeah.
At 60 years old, he passed away and never got to really retire and enjoy golf. So I think I was always like, I'm going to do things my way, you know, like I don't want a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
I've had opportunities to do plenty of things that would make me money. I don't think, but I wasn't striving for that.
You weren't driven by money.
No. I think that's much to my parents' dismay sometimes. Not always. I mean, they appreciate who I am, but yeah, it would have been easier on them worrying about me. You know, when I left the country with $75 in my pocket, my mother was telling a story about how my father was kind of debating whether or not to, you know, give me his American Express card. So, you know, like, and he said, no, I'm going to let him.
Yeah, figure it out.
And that was the best thing that ever happened. You know, because I lived for 3 months out of the country with no money.
What country were you in?
I was in New Zealand.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It was, if you're going to be like $75 and no home, do it in New Zealand in the summertime, like their summer.
Okay.
It was beautiful. And I had a great experience. I had a lot of the resiliency and belief in something greater than me comes from that.
Yeah.
You know, like I was stranded and I had somebody kind of pecking at me like, what are you going to do? And I had to believe constantly that things would get better. And then they did, like in real time, like within like hours, like everything happened and opened up.
So you saw magic happen.
Oh, yeah, firsthand.
Yes.
And I saw the power of just being resilient and pushing forward. I mean, I was traveling with literally 50 cents in my pocket at this point. Like we were walking, I had $1.50 and we got kicked off a bus because we stayed on too long.
Oh.
And just randomly looking for a job. Like one day we just set out, me and this other guy from the youth hostel I was in because I couldn't afford to pay anymore.
Yeah.
They actually kept my passport because I owed them money, I think. So we left. I had $1.50. We're walking. It's hot out. We're parched. We show up at this gas station and he offers to buy me a soda. And I go, well, how much is it? It's $1. I go, I got that. So I gave the $1. He's like, You're crazy. You're like, what are you doing? You're like, now you're down to 50 cents. I said, I'm not broke. I'm not thirsty. And it's a beautiful day. So, you know, I had like this, it was such an interesting moment that.
Yeah.
And then, like, he was like the voice in negativity. Really just pecking at me. Like, this English dude, Jeremy, like, what are you going to do, Greg? You're going to die out here alone with no money and this. I go, no, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. The very first place we walked up to, there was these four corners. We were told, go to the four corners. There's some apple orchards there. Maybe they can get you work. The very first place we walked up to, I said, hey, we're looking for work, you know, can you help us? He said, well, what do you want? I go, honest day's work, honest day's pay, you know, we're just traveling around. He goes, all right, you're hired. I'll give you $50 a day. You can pitch your tent in the back of the orchard, and I'll cook your meal every morning.
Oh.
And this kid turned around, and Jeremy looked at me like, I can't freaking believe it, Greg. I can't, how did that, you know, he was amazed. And I said, I told you, you just got to believe.
Yeah.
You just got to believe in it, you know? And you got to keep pushing.
Oh.
You can't just believe and then sit down and not move.
And wait,
Yeah, you can't, you got to do. You got to, nothing is ever accomplished without enthusiasm.
Oh, I love that quote.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote that on the social post.
Yeah, well, I have to give that to Jim Valvano.
Okay. I don't know who
Jimmy
Jim
V.
is.
Should Jimmy V. org? I saw him speak. Jim Valvano is a famous basketball coach who started a cancer, very popular, still going today, really big, Jimmy V. org. I forget what it's called, but I saw him speak when he actually won a national championship with an underdog team and became very, very high profile, and then he got cancer and died and gave a great speech on ESPN.
Oh, I'm going to have to look that up.
Oh, yeah, it's really, I see it all the time to this day, and that was probably 30 years ago,
so it's
40 years ago.
super inspiring for you.
Incredibly inspiring.
Okay.
But I saw him speak, and he said, you know, nothing's ever accomplished without enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to move forward. You got to keep going forward.
Yes.
Because there's plenty of times when I could have sat down on the side of the road and cried.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been real easy. That's the easy way out. The hard way is to keep pushing, but then to see the benefits of that. And I lived at that apple orchard. That other guy that I was with had money.
Oh.
He had been working in New Zealand, in Australia.
Okay.
And he came to New Zealand because his visa was going to run out, and, you know, he couldn't be in the country for that long, so he had to leave that country, come to another one, and he had a big wad of money, and he was afraid I was going to not steal
live
from him,
off of him.
Live off of him. But he didn't really need the job, and I worked hard because I was appreciative. And the family loved me, and they kicked him out because he didn't want to work.
So you stayed and your friend left?
Yeah. Well, they didn't want him there. He wasn't working. Yeah. You know? He wasn't working out, and he didn't need it. I needed it, so I made it work.
Good for you.
And I stayed there for about 2 or 3 months. Okay. And I could go back to that family. Well, I don't know if the old man's probably not around, but the kid. And we just had a great time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I love the adventure there.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. When did you know it was time to move on from there? Like, were you saving up for something?
Yeah. So I think when I was younger, something always drew me to Australia.
Oh.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So when I left college, probably, I don't know, the next year, I sold my car. It wasn't really an expensive car, but you could buy a World Fair for $2,000, which means you can start in New York and travel around the world in 1 year on an airline and get on any time, as long as you don't. Once you start coming back, you have to circumnavigate the globe.
Okay.
But once you start coming back, you have to come back. You can't go back and forth. You can't just travel for a year. You have to kind of go forward.
Okay.
So I went to Rarotonga, Tahiti. I was in Hawaii for a little while. Hawaii was interesting.
Why?
Because I was living on the beaches there, made friends with a cat, sharing cans of tuna fish on a beach, very serious poverty, and that's how I got my $75 was calling up a friend you owe me some money, can you send it to me? And then somebody was kind enough to take me to the airport, and I took him out to lunch, and I hadn't eaten in a while.
Oh
so
my gosh, Greg!
I ate a buffet, and then I got sick immediately. Then got on the plane and landed in New Zealand. So yeah, it was kind of hard times, but it was an adventure. And then so I saved up quite a bit of money. New Zealand was the promised land for me. It was so beautiful and safe.
Yeah.
There's no man-eating animals there, or venomous snakes.
There aren't?
Or not really. No, it's because it's volcanic.
Yeah.
It rose kind of out of the Pacific, and they're very careful about what they let into the country. So you don't have poisonous spiders there. Not like Australia, where you turn over a rock and you got this.
Yeah.
You could have serious problem. So it's really safe to camp in New Zealand. And not that I was going to camp all over Australia, but I saved up quite a bit of money, $1,000, and I had a free ticket, obviously, to Australia. So I made it over to Australia, and I think I just got tired after 3 months.
Yeah.
Kind of tired of just figuring everything out day after day, and I said, man, you know what? I'm going to come home. So I was in Australia for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to see the sights, Sydney Harbor, travel around a little bit, but I think it was just time to go home, so I just came back.
Greg, it's no wonder you love your life here in Littleton and your land and your home and the community that you have, because it sounds like you didn't really have that for several years. I didn't,
and it's funny, now that you say that, I think back to New Zealand when I was traveling around. I saw a guy that had a piece of land, and just by looking at him and what he was doing and how his land and how his buildings and all of his property was, I'm like, this guy's just doing everything by himself, and he's creating his own little world on his land. And I think I was envious of that.
Oh.
So I think that kind of stuck. I don't think of it consciously, but I think in the back of my mind, it's I just want to.
You wanted something like that.
Yeah, I want my own thing. I want to be in charge. When we lived in LA, we had a homeowners association.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't paint your house this color. Mm-hmm. Your garbage cans have to be in. I don't like people telling me what to do.
No.
And my wife doesn't like that either. So we didn't fit in there so much. But now, having complete autonomy over everything in your house and your land, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Especially the freedom to create artwork and put it up, a 20-foot sculpture in my house out of wood or whatever.
Yeah.
Not in my house, but on my land.
Yeah.
I don't have large ceilings.
You don't?
8-foot ceilings. Yeah, but I have a lot of land. Yeah.
I think the word freedom probably means a lot to you.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
A very lot. Like I like my freedom, and I like other people to have the freedom as well. I don't like to impose my will on anybody, really.
Yeah. So how do you believe in people without imposing your own beliefs on them?
I listen. I listen to them. You know, I believe and listen, and I don't try to change them.
Yeah.
I want them to be free to become whatever they want to be. How can I help that? That's my purpose, really.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, even as a coach, I went through a lot of learning, and you met one of my students today.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Very hard worker. And I went through a growth period where, you know, so imagine you're coaching somebody who wants to be great. I can show them what they need to do, but how do they become great? They can really only become great if they find themselves, find within what they need to become great. You know, punching, kicking, they're just exercises. Mm-hmm. But greatness, you know, can be unlocked if people are free, if they're free to find that, you know?
That's super profound.
It took me a while because I always thought, you know, when you come to my school, well, not always, but I think I figured I cracked this code early in my martial arts career. You know, it used to be about me. Like, I have all these great gifts. I was trained by some really high level, famous, incredible martial artists.
Okay.
Like, I have the benefit of being trained in martial arts by legends, not just really good teachers, mm-hmm. but legends in martial arts. Names that, you know, if you look them up, just incredible people and incredible legends.
Yeah.
You know, and at first your ego gets a little hold of you, and you're like, "Oh, I'm the sensei. You come to me, and I'll make you great. I'll give you my." It's not about me at all. What I've learned in that arc is that it's about you. It's about the individual that comes to me. Everybody comes to the class looking for something different. How can I understand what they need will make them great? What formula how can I build on their success? How can I help them when they fail to understand it's a stepping stone?
Yeah.
You know, like, how do we change that mindset? You know, so I learned early to individualize martial arts, not to have like even in, and that's why I retired too, because it's draining, because I take such a personal interest in each student.
Yes.
And to unlock their potential, that it takes a lot out of you. And I did it for a long time, and I love every part of it, you know. So I think finding that out helped me grow as well. You know, finding out, you know, my purpose, you know, not making it about me and this, but how can I make other people great, and what do they need from me? Because I really consider myself a public servant. Yeah. You know, like, serve the community, serve people. You know, I just think it's a natural fit for me. It's how I feel. Yeah. You know? It's,
like, authentic.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't shy away from it.
No. Who in your life is that person for you?
The person that helps me unlock.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned my wife. Hope if she's listening, she'll be happy I said that. It was the belief of coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Early, when I was in like 9th grade in high school, I had a coach offered to pay for basketball camp for me, and would drive me almost 50 miles pick me up as long as I was waiting outside on the highway. I'd get in his car. He'd drive 50 miles for 2 weeks and take me there and pay for it.
Nice.
He didn't have to do that. He believed in me. And I met some incredible... And that's, I think, where I probably heard Jimmy V and heard all these famous people talking. And before they became famous, I look back and I go, wow, what an incredible time to be there. You know, like it was really incredible. Then in the martial arts circle, I had a really good teacher in New York who introduced me to Professor Wally J. And Wally J, actually, Bruce Lee looked up to him.
Oh, really?
So you don't know Wally J's name, but you know Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee used to go learn from him. Used to sit on his doorstep and wait for him out in California, in Oakland. And I remember I met Wally J when I was like 6 months into martial arts. And I remember that he treated me like an equal.
That's memorable when somebody does that.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a legend.
Yeah.
He's older, but he's treating me like an equal. Then when I moved out to California, I had the pleasure of training with him and having him to my house and interacting with him and driving around to different seminars where he would put me in charge, and he showed a lot of belief in me. Like, you know, he didn't have to do that, but he had that power of positivity that he instilled on me. And I saw firsthand, like, wow, you know, and he built community. Yeah. He built an incredible community of martial arts, he was a great technician, but it was through his love and his spirit was really what people were attracted to. And I got to see that, which forever grateful for that.
That shaped your life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
100%. 100%. I've always been successful at martial arts schools. I've owned a couple of different places, and I've always managed to stay above water. Yeah. And it's because of that. And I never wanted to be a commercial school and have like 5 schools. And, you know, I always wanted it to be personalized. So that's what I did. And to me, that was the community of martial arts, and our school was always more important than anything. It's the priority.
Yeah, it wasn't about money.
No. And I was fortunate not to have to really feed my kids and, you know, survive on it.
You didn't feed your kids?
No, my kids didn't eat until they were, until they left the house. No, I didn't have to feed them with the martial arts money.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I paid the bills. I always paid the bills. It'd struggle once in a while, but for the most part, I sustained it throughout the North Country for 18 years.
It's impressive.
18 years in the North Country, and I had a lot of success in my eyes. You know, maybe not like monetary success, but a lot of lives that people benefited from. They benefited from the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that quote about enthusiasm again?
Nothing important was ever accomplished without enthusiasm.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to round out our hour.
Yeah.
Greg, I knew that this would fly.
It's been an hour?
Over.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do we do? Take a break and come back?
Well, here's what we're going to do. I promised for the month of December that I would announce any events listed on the White Mountains directory.
Cool. To
help our community businesses be seen and heard. And, it's a holiday week, so there's not a whole lot going on, but there are a couple things that I wanted to make sure and draw people's attention to. Christmas is on Thursday, just so everybody knows it's Christmas. Okay.
Hard not to know it when you're walking around town.
I know, it's so beautiful.
I love it.
It's picturesque. It's wonderful. Franconia Inn is putting on they call it Table for Two. That's this Friday. Every Friday, couples can enjoy 1 appetizer, 2 entrees, and 1 dessert for $65. This promotion is valid for groups of up to 4 guests, but larger parties are still welcome to dine with us. Serving dinner in both our pub and dining room. Reservations are strongly encouraged for both locations. You can call the inn, and price does not include tax or gratuity. So that's table for two at Franconia Inn this Friday evening. And then we have Marimo Dance Studio. Have you heard of Marimo?
No.
Marimo Dance Studio is located on Main Street in Franconia, actually. And there's a pre-New Year's Eve family dance party happening on Sunday at 11 a.m., celebrating 2025 and welcoming 2026. It's a dance party for the whole family. There's all kinds of fun stuff happening there. And then they have one other event, and that's on Monday. It's called Intentions Pop-Up Party. Set your intentions to find your calm and have some fun this new year with us. We're welcoming 2026 together with 2 uplifting class options. So there are some dance classes happening at Marimo Dance Studio, and that's Monday the 29th starting at 4:30. How do you feel about setting intentions for the new year, Greg? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, it's usually over by January 5th. I do, but loosely. I don't.
Yeah.
I try to. So I'll tell you real quick. I used to struggle a little bit with alcohol.
Okay.
When I was younger, it was a bigger part of my life, and I cut it out of my life. And what I did was I stopped from January 1st. People that know me know I still like a glass of red wine here and there.
Yeah.
I can, it's not a problem for me. I never had any formal recovery or anything, but I used to stop January 1st and not abstain completely from alcohol till May 8th, my birthday. So for 5 months, I would not drink at all, no alcohol. And I've done that for over 15 years, and I don't even think I really need to do that anymore. It's just, alcohol is just not a part of my, I don't enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, once in a while, a glass of wine at dinner, yeah, but I don't know, maybe it's getting older, but I don't think it's really not necessary for me. And, but that was something I set every year.
Yeah.
January 1st.
Interesting. I'm the type of person that doesn't really like doing something because it's a tradition.
Yeah.
So I tend to push away these types of things.
Yeah.
But last January, and it could have been any month of the year, but it happened in January, I was getting serious about the direction of my life and being more intentional about what I was creating. Because I used to think that life happened to me. And then I started realizing over the last 2 years that, oh, wait, I'm the, main character in my story.
Life happens because of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when that switch flipped for me, last January, I sat down and I thought very deeply and I wrote out, and I think this is important to write down what's in your head. And I wrote down the things that I wanted to create in 2025. How did I want my life to go? What did I want to happen? But even deeper, why? It wasn't just I want a new car. It was well, why do you want a new car?
Right.
So there were some things that I set this past year, and I love revisiting them now because I'm that all happened.
It all happened.
And it happened in spades, and there was abundance this year.
Wow.
And I was just okay, this is a thing that I need to adopt in my life, is to start being more intentional. It doesn't have to be every January 1st. In fact, I'd make it a daily practice every morning to get out of bed, get my coffee, and really think about, I've been given a gift. I'm alive today. How do I want this day to go? What do I want myself, who is the person that I want to be today? And that has been truly life-changing for me. So I'm not a fan of setting intentions because it's January 1st, but I am a fan of setting intentions.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking I have a lot of self-improvement to work on, and I don't think January 1st defines it. I think I work more in like 3 or 5 year plans. What do I want?
Okay.
I want to retire in a little while, and I want to build a barn where I can really do what makes me happy, and that's creating art
with high ceilings, right?
With a barn like I know myself, and I need to work big.
Yeah,
I do draw, and I can draw, and I practice at a drafting table, but that's really just to keep me polished, and everything relates to everything else. But I really like to work big, and I want to do more of that, and so I think more in like 3-year terms. I want to work on my physical health, my strength, and I had a back surgery a year ago, and I'm letting everything kind of come around, but I need to be more active. I'm still walking every day for an hour.
Good.
But I need to be better about what I eat. I need to exercise more like any person my age.
Yeah.
Like more. So it's not January 1st, but it's more like, a life thing. Like for the next 3 years, I really want to get healthier, be as healthy, because I want to live well into my 90s.
Good. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm looking at time in chunks of 3 to 5 years.
That helps me a lot.
When did that start for you?
Great question. My wife and I, as our kids got older,
okay,
we got to a point where we were like, we were on, I think you hit milestones and you hit these places where it's like, okay, even when it comes financially or with our house, or as you get older, you start looking towards the future. So there was a point when my wife and I were like, okay, we look at our finances and go, okay, we have a beautiful house. We have equity in it. Mm-hmm. Do we want to downsize? Because we could take some of that money, downsize, and live. What kind of lifestyle do we want to live? Mm-hmm. And at that point, I think I said, no, you know what? Let's make a 5-year plan. For the next 5 years, I'm going to work my butt off, because I want this lifestyle. Right? So It was like, I chose intentionally to work like, okay, I'm going to do a lot. I was fine with it. It wasn't like I was forced to do it.
Yeah.
We had the finances were okay, but I wanted more. I wanted to maintain this lifestyle and be able to not have to worry a little bit about money. So money, obviously, I've changed a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't all like rainbows and unicorns. Like we had to get down and make some money sometimes. So even while I was running my school, I decided to work other jobs, like Garnet Hill, like some media company that I was doing drone work for. So I would just take on whatever jobs I could and really hustle. Yeah. Hustle for like 5 years. And that worked out really good. And then after 5 years, my wife and I were like, wow, that's good. What are we going to do for the next 5 years? So every 5 years, we kind of make a plan. So 5-year chunks. And it worked out really good. I recommend it for even 3 years, like a 3-year plan. My job, we do 3-year strategic planning. Right. We do work plans.
Is that for North Country Health Consortium? North
Country Health Consortium, yeah. Okay. So I find the benefit of that really, and then you look back and you go, okay, that worked out good. What do we want to do? Where do we want to be in 3 years? Where do I want to be in 3 years? I know that I want to be in my barn with the high ceilings that were just built, creating art, dipping into the community to do whatever I can. I'm on the board of directors. I'm the president of the board of directors for North Country Community Radio. Woohoo! I know. I love this radio station. Yeah. There's so many great things coming down the pipe. Yeah. And I want to be involved, whether I don't need to be the board president, but, maybe retire and take a job doing something with the radio station.
Being a DJ.
I don't know. Maybe DJ. Maybe just being the guy that we're getting a stage.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy that goes around and helps set up the stage, books the acts for the stage, or interacts with the community.
Yeah.
You know, the ideal thing, I mean, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but like, you know, getting youth involved in fulfilling their dreams of being on stage by playing in a band that maybe we set the stage up and they get an audience and community and stage and radio and more community and more dreams fulfilled and more confidence and all those things.
You're like radiating right now.
Well, there's so many possibilities. There's so many opportunities. You know, the only reason I get frustrated sometimes is because I see opportunities get missed.
Yep.
But we have so many opportunities, especially in the North Country, especially with the great art people around here. Like, I had a great conversation the other day with Angel Larkham. And, you know, how lucky we are to have the community, but the art community here in Littleton. And kids are lucky. My daughter is an artist, and she does not want to leave this community because the community has embraced her art.
They totally have. I see it everywhere.
I know, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
She's outshining me. I don't know if I like that, but but yeah, she's doing it, and you know, it's more important than money. You know, I think it's, you know, feeling a sense of community. We all thrive when we have community around us. So building community will always be part of my game plan. Good. Yeah. What it looks like, who knows?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But thank you for the suggestion of a 3 to 5 year plan. I mean, that's a big leap for me. I haven't thought like that.
Well, otherwise life happens to you.
Right.
But this way you can say, this is what I want to be.
Yeah.
In 3 years, this is where I want to be. This is what I want. And you've done it for a year.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Maybe I try 2 years.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Yeah, definitely.
Oh. All right. Well, Greg, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me here.
It has really been an honor. You know, you have so much... so many stories, so much wisdom from your experiences, and you have a way of speaking humbly about it that I really appreciate. And I know our community appreciates you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you and letting me get on here and speak.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
I really do. I really do. And thank you for bringing on so many distinguished guests, you know, that you've had in the past, like Janie, like Mike Claflin, Ed from the Co-op, Ed King.
Yeah.
You've had some, I feel honored to be here, and really feel I appreciate it very much.
I'm happy to do it, and you know I'm going to ask you afterwards for some suggestions for future guests.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And to our listeners, if you guys have suggestions for future guests, I welcome any and all introductions. You can find me on social media, Amanda McKeen, or you can send me an email. My email is amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Wishing you all a very wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. We'll be back with you next week. We have Paige, I'm going to forget her last name, from Tail Swag.
Oh, wow.
What's her last name?
I don't know Paige, but I know Tail Swag.
Tail Swag. She's the owner of Tail Swag.
Oh, they just gave my dog some booties that fit.
Yes.
Oh, it's so life changer. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes. Thank you, Greg. And we'll see you guys next week.